Hey there, card readers. April here on Tarot and Witchery, and this is my September favorites. My life in tarot, as I like to call it. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. I love getting to know all of you, and I appreciate your support. So if you are new here, then I'm going to talk about the books that I read and the decks that I worked with and just kind of my experience, but I'm going to translate it into tarot cards, kind of the feelings that I have if they were a tarot card, what would it be? And it has been a profound month. It really, really has. But before we jump into it, I want to invite you to sign up for my newsletter down below. And when you do that, you get very infrequent emails. But I do email out. If I put a spread up on here, I will email the PDF in that and sometimes other goodies. I also want to let you know that my ancestral divination course is available and it's super cool with 6 types of divination in it. And it's just an amazing course if you're wanting to pursue your magical path and really get into developing your personal power, facing your shadow, and integrating the wisdom of your family line. So you can check that out down below as well. This month, oh my goodness. So first of all, let me just say I'm getting ready to go to Spain as I'm recording this. And so I'm not going to do a super ton of editing like I normally do. This won't be as fancy as it usually is. But I will try to put timestamps down below because I know that there's a lot here and some of you may want to jump around to different things. But I may not get to it if I don't have the time. But I'm going to try. Okay? So, yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Spain and I'm really excited and in the process of getting ready to go do that for 2 weeks with my wonderful husband. It is gorgeous fall. Fall has come here and I had in September, I was super busy harvesting just a lot of fruit and doing some work out in the orchard here. We have 80 trees, so that was a lot of work. But lots of fun, and I did make apple butter and pear butter, and we dried, oh my gosh, tons of plums. It was a plum year. Oh my goodness, we got so many plums. How many of you have fruit trees, and did you do anything with your fruit? Let me know. It was also blackberry season, and I tried to freeze as many blackberries as I could because I am a smoothie junkie. So, and blackberries, I think, are like the king of berries. They're so darn good. Okay, I'm going to check my little list here to kind of keep me on track. Okay, yeah, okay, so this month I did read. I did not read in July. I did read in August. I did not read in July. I did read in August a bit, but I really read in September. And it was a time of really re-enchanting the tarot. And I've talked about this, like, this is not my phrase. I think it's Joseph Campbell's phrase, re-enchanting your life. And so I've been trying to re-enchant my life with tarot and my relationship with tarot. And it really was that for me. I would say this month in many ways felt like a page of Pentacles month, but also a page of Swords month. There were a lot of ideas that came in for me. It was a time of feeling like a newness, but at the same time, that Page of Pentacles energy that's like there's a preciousness to the month. I love when the weather changes, and it finally did here. It finally went from being hot to having really cool mornings, so I could bundle up and be outside in the morning with my feet on the ground and a cup of cocoa and just listen to the birds and really enjoy nature. So that was amazing for me. And in that, I did not tarot journal. As I told you, I've given up tarot journaling. I'm still journaling, but I'm not tarot journaling. And the reason for that was it was such a production that I felt like every time I pulled a card, I had to journal. And it just became too much. And I was feeling like tarot was too much of a job. I do, like, if you've been to my site, you'll see that I do offer readings. You have to get on my newsletter list to even see when they go up. I do readings infrequently. I don't do them for a living. I only do them when I feel like my well is full, so I have something to give. So part of re-enchanting the tarot for me was doing some readings, selling some readings. That was a lot of fun because I feel very activated by reading for others. Let me know how many of you down below you read for other people, and if you feel like that really activates you in a way that's profound. It really was a wonderful month for me. I had two main decks that I worked with this month. The first one was, of course, the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. This was a gift to me, and it has been so profound. This is a soul deck for me. This is just a major soul deck. And these are the cards from my September spread that I did that are kind of coming up here. And they were so dead on because we were going through Mercury retrograde. I had this 7 of Swords, and I also had this 9 of Swords. And there was a lot of 9 of Swords energy for me this month because I felt like I was really having to face a lot of insecurities and demons as I created my course, my Ancestral Divination course. Just because, you know, you have these things like imposter syndrome comes in, like, who am I to be teaching this? I'm no super pro. I'm just this natural witch. I'm just this natural practitioner. But I really felt like it was a heart offering for me. And it was just this beautiful journey into self in a way that I was unprepared for. I was unprepared for how much love and support I got. And you know, a lot of that was from doing the work at my ancestral altar and just really allowing myself to be held by my ancestors and just supported and having the power of my family line come down. So Oak, Ash, and Thorn, this was a big one for me. And then I had this deck right here. This is a Martin Made Me Do It deck. And I know I still have the dust sleeve on it, and it's got this beautiful, let's just take that off there. It has this beautiful front to it, but I've left the dust cover on there. I love this box. You know, it's funny because in the past, I haven't been a super animal person. Matte gilding on here, which I love. I like the backs. But this is such a great deck. And this is sort of an amalgam. It's not quite a straight Thoth deck. It does have the keywords on it. It's not quite a straight Thoth deck because these are not all the same ones. It's sort of an amalgam of that. But these cards are amazing. I absolutely love the Pentacles. It's the roots so it's the 4 of roots is the Pentacles. And this deck is wonderful. I love the illustrations. I have had absolutely no trouble at all connecting with this deck. Again, it was a part of the Re-enchanting of the Tarot because it felt really good to have something so natural that called to me. But also the deck is, the book is profound. I absolutely cannot, this is just a great deck. And of course, I'll have links to the decks that I'm showing you down below in the description box. These are wood block stamps. I mean, the work on this is gorgeous. The art itself, the writing is amazing. And he talks about the thoughts of the artist and then his own thoughts and why he did what he did and what he did. This is a very native deck. This is such an earthy deck. If you like earthy decks, this is such an incredibly earthy deck. It really is incredibly grounding. And there's something, I actually lived on the reservation with Native Americans. And to me, this definitely has the feeling of the pace on the reservation. There's a slowness to the Native way that holds you. And, you know, for me, I was living with someone who is doing a lot of healing, feminine healing for me. And so to me, this feels like this feels like that profound journey. And I felt very held by this deck as I went through, again, this journey to self that I was undergoing. Not going to show you a bunch here, but of course I use the power of surrender cards. If you've seen my 6 underrated oracle decks, then you'll know that I use this. Don't really like the pictures on it. I never use that, but the sayings on here are good. And of course, this is just sort of a staple in my life. This deck is, I actually have 2 of these decks, one in the house and then one out here in my spirit room because my spirit room is outside of the house. Okay, and then I used 2 oracles during this month. One was the Green Wheel Oracle. This is such a fabulous oracle. It is, it's by Danielle Barlow. I wanted to make sure I got that right. By Danielle Barlow. So if you like the Witch's Wisdom Tarot, then you would like this because it's the artist from that. I'm not going to say too much about this because I do have a video coming out about this deck, but this really made me feel, it is enchanting. It's an enchanting deck, and it helped with that re-enchantment. It helped to bring me back to where I remember why I love divination so much. You know, here I was writing this course on divination, so I was delving into all these different forms of divination, and just I was reminded about how much I love cards, how much cards just feel so right to me and feel as though they are a part of my natural makeup. Like they're just a part of who I am on such a core level. And then I was using the Folktales Oracle. And this is another natural, you know, very earthy. You guys know I'm really earthy, so it's probably going to be, if you're not earthy, you're probably like, wow, these are really different. Maybe not your style. Oops, why am I like this? I've got them going 2 ways. I'm not sure why, but I do. Here are the backs right here. The Folktales Oracle. This is a very different one. And again, I have a video coming out about this. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I love the feel of this. There's a childlike feel to this oracle, and because of that, I feel like it really, during this time when things were sort of serious for me, where I was really looking at a lot of my own personal insecurities and thinking about, like, from a 6 of Pentacles kind of way, honestly, like equal exchange. Like I want to be releasing what I know and what I love and giving that to all of you. And I also need to make a living. And so I wanted to kind of meld those two. And it felt really weird, you guys. It felt really weird to be going, hey, buy my course, check my course out. It does feel really odd because I think that we have these ideas that if we're doing something spiritual, that we can't make it about monetary gain, but it's really not about that. It's about exchange. And so in that way, it was really looking at 6 of Pentacles and looking at my hangups about abundance. And that way, so like maybe like a 9 of Pentacles reversed, you know, looking at fears about abundance and where they were in my life. So having this deck where it's got this bit of a childlike feel to it, just cuts the edge off to something that's so serious and so deep. And so this allowed me to get into a place that was just a little bit more relaxing, a little bit more comfortable for myself. Yeah, this was a real blessing. And of course it's enchanting. It is enchanting. And so again, back to this re-enchanting of self. Here's the card that I talked about a lot in my Life is Ritual video. Man, so this has been instrumental in supporting me and keeping me in a place of self-love and childlike wonder as I go through this time, the Folktales Oracle. Part of re-enchanting my life is a lot of times what I'm reading. So this is my books section here, if you're into books. I am reading some nonfiction books, but I'm not done with them yet. So I'm not going to share that until I'm done with it and I've actually worked on them, because a lot of them are about spell work. So I'll wait until I actually have some hands-on things to share with you about that. But I did read at the beginning of the month, I was finishing up The Golem's Eye, which is the sequel to the Amulet of Samarkand. And I read the Amulet of Samarkand in August. And it's basically a magical adventure. What I love about it is that he's just this young boy who is so haughty and arrogant, and he just can't see his own foibles. And it's just great to be looking from the outside and thinking about, for me, like our own personal arrogance, the ways in which we miss the very things that annoy us and other people are the things that we're doing. Great book. Anyway, check it out. The trilogy, the Bartimaeus trilogy. The first one is The Amulet of Samarkand, and the second one is The Golem's Eye. Then I reread, or re-listened to actually, on Audible, and this is definitely worth listening to on Audible. This is the best narrator ever. She is just amazing, and I'm so sorry that I don't have her name written down here, but I do want to say that, first of all, Jennifer Bell wrote the Bartimaeus trilogy. Really, really good. And then I read Signe Pike's The Lost Queen, and this was my second time this year, I think. Yeah, probably my second time this year that I've listened to it. And then I went on and did The Forgotten Kingdom. So enchanting, so empowering, just amazing to kind of listen to these lives of these different women. And if you read the two books, it covers 3 generations. And the power of submitting to the paths that we are born to walk, I think, was a really wonderful exploration of, sometimes we get into, I wish I were like so-and-so, or I wish I could have done this. But understanding, to me, it really highlighted getting into our own personal flow in order to find our way into who I am. For me, it paralleled this journey that I was going through, where there's always, whenever you create something, there's a seed of dissatisfaction. And that seed of dissatisfaction is like, I put so much into this course, you guys. Like, there's so many things. Like, as I was doing it, I thought, oh, I want to include this. Oh, I got to include this too. So it's a lot. It's pretty comprehensive. It's 5 units, or 5 pathways, as I call them. 5 pathways. You could try to do it over 5 weeks, but I think you'd be hard pressed to. The idea is that these are springboards into your own magical practice and into divinatory practices that you can use and grow into. So, I mean, you could do this over the next year, all the different ideas over the next year. So there's this seed of dissatisfaction in that I would have loved to have done more, but I felt like it was going to be overwhelming if I just kept going. But then there's also this seed of dissatisfaction in, like, I wish I were further along. Like, I wish I were the great and almighty refined person and didn't have any issues that I was still working on as I'm going through this. And I think both these books really highlight that inner struggle for us as we are becoming ourselves, and the different choices that we have along the way, and how there's choice, but then there's also the pull of life, the flow of our own energy and where it's going to take us, because that's who we're created to be. Anyway, so poetic, so beautiful, just wonderful, wonderful books that just transported me. I spent like every spare moment in the evening, in the very early morning, listening to these, and it helped me to re-enchant my life. So The Lost Queen and The Forgotten Kingdom by Signe Pike. And again, on Audible, it is delicious. It is so wonderfully narrated. So check those out. At the end of the month, I went to go see Hamilton with my daughter and her girlfriend, and that was amazing and so much fun. A lot of the people that were in the show were traveling from like better companies. This wasn't just a local company. And the production was fabulous. I had never seen it. I had heard some of the music because my youngest daughter was super into the score and was listening to it. I'm so glad that I didn't watch it before I went. I had no idea that it was an operetta, that it was an opera. Actually, it wasn't an operetta. It was actually an opera. I had no idea. I just thought it was a musical. So I was kind of, whoa, taken aback at first. But just like when you go to see Shakespeare, you just fall into the rhythm. And I loved it. It was an adventure and it was a memory to have with my daughter. And I'm so glad that I went. I'm so glad that I was able to get tickets because it just completely sold out. And I have a friend who helped me get tickets early on. So that was amazing. So now I'm going to do my eco plug here. You know that I kind of do an eco plug every single time to try to get you thinking in ways that you can engage with the planet and the saving of our planet by making small choices, small steps. It's the small choices that really position our planet to be in a better place. And it helps us to honor what it is that we're doing and being. So of course, I'm going to tell you, like I do every time, it's fall in the Northern Hemisphere and it's spring in the Southern Hemisphere. Please plant a tree. If you cannot plant a tree somewhere in your yard or in your city or in a friend's yard, then just pay to have a tree planted somewhere else. There are tons of organizations online, and literally for $5, you can plant probably 2 or 3 trees. I mean, it really doesn't cost that much. There's some great ones. Kaveri Calling is Sadhguru's effort to reforest some of the areas in India in order to save the soil. So there's that. Look up online. There's tons of wonderful places, but plant a tree. And then what was my other one? Oh, here was my other one. And some of you are not going to like this. Please don't get offended and take it or leave it. But you can do some research on the effect that commercial meat farming has on our planet. And we use resources, we use water, and we cut down the rainforest in order to grow soybeans to feed these animals. I'm not telling you not to quit eating meat altogether, but if you eat commercial meat, and by that I mean you do not raise your own meat, kill it yourself, and butcher it yourself, then I really want to suggest eating meat 1 day less a week than you already do, like a whole day of no animal products. If the whole world did that, we would be in a completely different place. It would have a huge impact on the use of our natural resources, on greenhouse gases, and on the usage of land. So something to consider. And if you want to, look it up. I'm not trying to push anything on you. I'm just trying to give you something to think about, because I think this is a profound way that you can create a difference on our planet with your dollars, where you put your dollars at. And your body will be happy to have a day off from meat, okay? It's just my thing there, okay? I want to share with you, I'm going to Spain. I'm really excited, Spain and Portugal, and the deck that I've decided to use. So I'm going to put this over the table here. So I have decided to take the Tarot de Carlotides. First of all, this box is so pretty. I love a good box. This is one of my favorite cards here. I haven't really worked with this deck, so it's so cute and portable. I love the finish on it. This is a Fournier deck. So this is the deck that I'll be taking. I feel like it's got a nice witchy sort of fall vibe to it. So I'm digging that. And it's folk art. I love the drawings, and it just kind of feels like the mixture of all the architecture that will be over there in Europe for me to look at. Yeah, I just absolutely love it. Look at that Queen of Cups. Look at that Death. I mean, I love the colors. I love the illustrations. It is amazing. That is in there at some point. And doesn't that look like Spanish? I guess it could be French too, but it just reminds me of the beauty and the intricacy of all the stuff that I'm going to be seeing, because we are doing the south of Spain in order to see all of the Moorish influence. And so I'm super excited to go to the Alhambra and to see flamenco dancing down there and just everything. Look at that. There she is. She look amazing. There she is again. Yeah, this has just got flair. I'm super excited to be taking this to Europe. All right, here's my menopause section. So some of you may not be interested in this, and some of you may think yes. Okay, so just to let you guys know, I've been talking about doing some Menopause Magic videos, and I will be doing that when I come back, but I could not make it happen for October. I thought November, December, probably going to do some Menopause Magic because I really wanted to be using this magic and have real results in order to share with you about it. So I will be doing some of those videos. I found that my hot flashes were really good this month, and I had discussed brain fog in the last video with all of you. And so I went on, I'm going to figure out what I can do about brain fog, and I found something. I found something really cool, you guys, that I want to share with you. So some of you had told me I wasn't crazy, that this was really real, and that hopefully I was going to regain my brain. And a lot of you said yes. That you get it back on the other side of it. I want to say this when talking about menopause. I want to encourage every one of you women who is perimenopausal, because I'm just in the throes of it. I'm not done. Every one of you who's perimenopausal or menopausal, to embrace this time. I think it's really important for us to throw off all of the bullshit that we are told about this time in our life and embrace it and realize that this is a transformational process. This is a transformational process. Your body is taking you into the supreme power of your cronehood. And it's not something to be missed. It's something to be embraced. And I'm going to talk more about this in my menopausal magic videos that I do. But man, I just encourage you to recognize when you have an idea that society has put on you about menopause that is disempowering. There are so many disempowering ideas that we are spoon-fed. Even this brain fog idea, I was really looking at it. I was like, brain fog, what does brain fog do? Brain fog makes me slow down and be present. Like, I just can't do 10,000 things at once. And I think that's the purpose of this time, is to be really present in the now and not to scorn it, but to realize that I'm being prepared. You're being prepared for a new way of being and empowering yourself and living embodied in a way that is, I think, terrifying to the modern world, because we don't really venerate the crone. We don't really venerate the gray-haired woman, the gray-haired saints. Instead, we sort of, push them to the side. So it's just a challenge. It's a challenge to you to really look at, like, this is happening to me and it's inconvenient. I will say it's inconvenient, but I think, and what I'm coming to know, is that during this transformative time, there are magics that we are cultivating with the use of our own body that are so available, that are not available at any other time in our life. Okay, that's my little pep talk for all of you. Let me know what you think about that down below. If you're like, ugh, I don't feel empowered by it. But how could you feel empowered if you shook off the negative? I mean, they hammer in this negativity into our heads. So if you were to overcome it. Okay, I want to make sure I get the name of this right. So I found something. I was sent a video about ADD. And there was a neurologist talking about an amino acid, because I'm au naturel, an amino acid used as part of for working with neurotransmitters. And so, that's kind of what's happening, is we're just, that we're not making that connection in our brains as much. Our brains are kind of foggy. So the name of this supplement, excuse me, the name of this amino acid, and I will put a link down below to it, but you can get it anywhere, but I'll put a link to the one that I got, is L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine, and it will be down below in the description box. I started taking this, and I bought it in the powdered form because buying it in the caplets was like really expensive compared to buying this powder form that would last me for a really, really long time. It was like half the price. So I bought this amino acid and I started putting it in my smoothies in the morning, and I'm a believer. Oh my gosh, I am such a believer, you guys. This is just, it's monumental. I'm still going through menopause. I'm still having those symptoms. I'm still sometimes forgetting what I'm doing from one room to the next, but there is a level of clarity. There's a level of clarity of thought, and maybe it's because I'm also doing these other things to channel these energies with my magic, into magical practices. It's also because I'm working dutifully to remove the negative stereotypes around menopause and allowing myself to have an experience that's new and fresh and my own. But I'm swearing by this. This is just an amino acid, and it is for neurological regulation. It's probably in the nootropics realm if you're into that. There's like so many nootropics that are out there. You can do, cordyceps mushrooms and, all sorts of different things that you can do. But I just bought this powder. It's very bitter, but you could just put it in a little water and take it every day. If you do too much of it, you won't be able to sleep. So don't do that. But I'm just using it's a very small amount in my smoothie, and it's making all the difference in the world. I'm so happy about it. And like I said, it could be just the perfect storm of my own attitude towards this time in my life, in allowing myself to slow down and be present with who I am, and just, letting this be the beauty of this time and allowing my body to teach me a new way of being in my power. So, it's hard to tell if it's just totally the L-tyrosine or not, but it's definitely had an effect. And my husband's doing it too, and he's noticed an effect on his body too. So check it out. You can do some reading up on it and, figure out it's found in like meat and fish, but I don't eat meat and fish, right? So I don't eat any animals. So having this in my diet it's been amazing. It's just been so amazing. All right. I know this felt a little rushed, maybe not, because it says I'm at 37 minutes, but that can't be the whole time because I'm going to edit out some of this. But I'm so glad you're here, you guys. And I love doing these monthly videos because they're really fun for me to just share about myself. If I were going to think about this time in my life right now, I feel like this is honestly the high priestess time in my life. This is the time of moving past initiation, out of the house of maidens, and really, really moving into being that high priestess self. And I feel like from a lot of the Avalonian books that I read, I feel like it's that time where you've already been confirmed as priestess, but now you're making the journey into being the high priestess. So it's not just priestess. You go through the house of maidens, then you become a priestess. This time is about becoming a high priestess. And it's so powerful, and it's not to be missed, and it's not to be judged, and it's not to be poo-pooed. It's to be embraced and loved and explored. And it's a time to glean everything out of there. So that high priestess card, I'm really, really grooving on it this month. And I am grateful. I am brought into a 9 of Cups way of being for this month and this time. And it may be because I'm 7 days away from going to Spain that I'm just over the moon too. But hey, keep your eye on my community tab. I'm going to be posting some pictures of me in Spain and some wonderful pictures of Spain to kind of take you on that journey with me. And until we meet again, may you dive into the personal well of your being in order to draw forth the beauty and power of all that you are.
Spin. Spin. Can you do it?
She's boycotting.
Spin. Spin.
She says, I'm done spinning.